Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video, I thought we could talk about expertise. No, not how to increase it faster or where to farm it. I've covered those in great detail before. What I want to talk about is your expertise post 600. I keep getting questions about the worth of increasing it, what to increase first, stuff along those lines, along with many people commenting about how little it seems to affect your stats and damage, versus how difficult it is to achieve. And all of these questions have led me to think maybe people do not completely understand how expertise or Gearscore post 600 works and what exactly it's for. So let's get into it. So, as you may have seen in many videos done by many content creators, as you upgrade your gear post 600, you'll see very little in terms of DPS increase, damage mitigation increase, and percent on the perks of your gear, which many people seem to think is strange considering the cost involved in upgrading it. Well, that's because post 600 things change. As you work from 500 to 600 at level 60, you're improving your expertise. You're trying to improve each slot for multiple reasons, so you can get better gear drops by increasing your potential, increasing the attributes in those slots, and increasing the percents on the perks on your gear and how it performs. Everything you would and should expect in terms of gear progression in any MMO. However, this changes at 600, which is why you no longer get expertise bumps post 600. Instead, then you have to manually upgrade your gear using Umbral Shards, a system that when it was first introduced, made a lot more sense than it does today. You see, Umbral Shards were the rewards for completing mutations, and expertise post 600 was a way of gauging your progress as you went through these. Post 600, your individual slot expertise is not what's important. After you reach 600, what now becomes important is your overall character's gear score, found here, which of course is determined by the expertise of your gear, but not in a straightforward, easy to understand manner. So first, let's look at why this changes. Post 600, this new measure for gear is called Gearscore scaling. This now plays a role on your character by determining how effective you will be in mutations, and at what level. You see, in-world monsters, animals, and such are not involved with this system. You simply attack them and do damage based on your perks, attributes, and potion bonuses. Your overall Gearscore scale doesn't play into this equation. But in mutations, this is one of the most important factors. Let's look at this chart so this might make more sense. As you see here, here's how your gear score will affect your outgoing damage, for example, in mutations you may choose to run. Here, let's take mutation 1 for example. If your average gear score is anything below 602 total, you will do reduced damage, and it will continue to be lower until 502, where you will simply do no damage at all, no matter how much you attack. When you enter any mutation, you will see a recommended gear score. This is not simply a suggestion for difficulty. It is the spot where you will do 100% your normal damage when the mutation does a gear score scale check. If you don't understand the system, you may find it quite difficult and frustrating as you progress, because even being off the recommended gear score by 2 can make a difference in terms of double digits in the terms of percent you will be penalized. Now, as you begin to work on your personal gear score scale, you will quickly begin to notice something quite strange in terms of how it works, and again, you may get frustrated. So understanding how exactly the game comes up with this number can really help you progress more quickly and understand how to spend your Umbral Shards in the most effective way. So the first thing to know, and probably the most important, is that not all gear contributes to your average gear score equally. I know this is a bit dumb, and I agree. For example, you would have to bump your boots to 606 in order to have the same hard number effect on your average gear score as simply upgrading your weapon once, or your chest. That you would have to upgrade to 602 to equal the effect on your average gear score that your weapon would at 601. And there is a reason for this. Not a good reason, but a reason nonetheless. AGS, when they created this system, decided to not have all gear weighted the same in terms of how it affects your overall percent. When you look at this number, it is made up of your total gear, but the pieces are not being weighed equally. Weapons make up roughly 39.1% of your gear score, feet 6.1%, hands 10.4%, jewelry 11.3%, legs 12.2%, and your chest roughly 20.9. This is important to keep in mind while upgrading your gear when you are fresh 60, because the faster you can be effective in mutations, the faster you will get access to better gear, huge amounts of Umbral Shards, and progress to 625 slots much faster. So right now you're probably thinking, oh well then I'll just max my weapons and then I'll be laughing. But this isn't really true, because as you progress into upgrading post 600, very soon things get pretty expensive pretty fast. So really this won't be your best option. So yes, you would be smart to work on your weapons first, but not to 625, because you will quickly notice that it has less impact for shard cost as you go higher up in the expertise. So at a certain point, you will then want to switch, then switch again, and so on. This way, you will get the most bang for your shards early on when the shards are more rare. To make this much easier, there exists online a calculator that works amazingly well. You simply input your current expertise per slot, and the calculator works out based on your average gear score impact versus cost, which piece you should upgrade next. That will give you your most impact for your least cost in Umbrals. I've linked this amazing tool in the description. So you see, this tool is an amazing resource for new players. You can get your average gear score higher much faster instead of pouring umbrals into your gear with little noticeable effect and getting frustrated that you still are stuck in M2. The reason I said I wanted to get this information out there was it seems many players left early in this new system or before it was created, so don't quite understand how it works post 600. You see, expertise for individual slots from 600 to 625 doesn't matter, other than it's just a counter that tracks your highest upgrade you've made in a slot and how much Umbral Shards you get from a gypsum cast. Nothing else in the game is affected by it post 600. What becomes important post 600 is your average gear score and how it interacts with mutators. Another thing I want to mention here is that if you have recently returned or recently hit 60, it's important to know that some work on this right now, because the prices are changing in the Brimstone Sands update. Upgrading gear from 600 to 620 is becoming a bit more expensive, but from 620 to 625 is becoming ridiculously cheaper. So if you're wanting to get the absolute most for your umbrals, you will want to upgrade all of your gear as close to 620 as possible before this update, but then stop. Do not upgrade it to 625. Wait till post-patch to finish. Well guys, I do hope I have answered those questions that you guys have been asking me surrounding expertise 600 to 625, and why it's important even though it only slightly changes your gear. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.